Welcome to the second in our labor shortage webinar series, Automation, where you will learn how automation can help your small business decrease menial activities in order to increase your labor capacity. Our team of SBDC consultants has curated a list of actions that we believe will better position small businesses to cope with the labor shortage. Please join us for upcoming webinars in the series, including Creating Efficiency with Bill Shallow on October 6th, Retention on October 20th, and Resources with Minnesota Deed Labor Market Analyst Chet Bowden on November 10th. Excuse me. I will send out 2 follow-up emails to today's webinar. We ask that you please respond to the first, which is a survey asking about how we can better serve you through our training events. Our funding is reliant on the number of responses we get, so please take the 5 minutes needed to fill that out. The second email will include a PDF of today's slide deck, as well as a link to a recording of today's webinar. And your presenter today is Shannon Burns, who is a business consultant with the West Central Minnesota Small Business Development Center. Thank you, Shannon, for sharing your insights with us today.
Thank you so much, Amy, for the introduction, and hello, everyone. Whether you're on live now or watching the recording at a later date, I appreciate you being here. And yes, as Amy mentioned, we are labor shortage series, and today we're going to be talking about automation. So one of the key things with automation to really start to think about, how do I automate my small business? And before I dive into this slide, I want to give just a little bit of kind of back story on how I was thinking about this. You know, for many of us with small businesses in the region or wherever you are, we think about maybe a brick and mortar, or maybe we have a service-based business. Maybe we have employees in a store or in a restaurant. And so thinking about automation with those types of businesses and with our local small businesses sometimes is a little bit difficult or different to wrap our head around. And so in thinking about that, I wanted to really start with what does automation kind of look like in terms of planning. So really, with all small businesses, we should think about it in terms of our web presence. And I really believe that, you know, the last 18 months or so, we've really learned how to think about our businesses in a different way, or maybe we're just starting to do that as we're starting to really navigate what our new normals are becoming. But we really are seeing a lot more need for web presence, whether you have a brick and mortar store or in a restaurant setting, or you're in manufacturing, or you're in a service industry. There's a lot of different ways that we're now offering services or products to our clients and customers that maybe we weren't pre-pandemic. So at the center of the diagram on the screen here is web presence. And around that, you see a number of different things. And we're going to touch on many of those today. But, you know, you have everything from the plan to the actual website, social media, your marketing. What is your brand? What kind of content do you put out? And so I think that it's really important to really think about all of these. And to start with, really having a clear plan. Maybe you have a website already, maybe you focus more on social media presence, but no matter where you are in the web space, I think it's important to think about plan. And you know, as SBDC consultants, we work with our clients on how to make plans all the time, whether it be a initial business plan or a strategic plan for the upcoming year, or a plan like this, having a more robust web presence. And so when you're thinking about the plan, you really want to start with your brand. Who are you? Who is your organization? And then you can start building all of the other bubbles around. Once you think about your brand, you think about, okay, well, we're going to have a website. What kind of social media channels are we going to use? You know, and really think about those different areas that you want to tap into. You want to define your communication and strategy channels, as we call them in the marketing space. And those channels are these different bubbles around the center, around our web presence. So you want to have your marketing plan or strategy. You want to have your social media calendar or strategy. And within that, you're then able to better start to automate some of these things: content, email marketing, your social media marketing, what have you. And by really understanding your customer, who are they? Where are they? What do they care about? When I talk to my clients about, understanding our customers, we really start to dive into not just the demographic characteristics, which are, the who are they, um, are they a business or a consumer? Is it, if they're a consumer, are they a specific age, or are they in a specific income bracket? If they're a business, are they in a specific industry, or are they a specific size? But we also really want to understand more about the customer, not just who are they or where are they, but what do they care about with regard to what you're offering, and why do they care about you? So you really want to focus on their needs, their wants, and what you appreciate, or what you want them to appreciate about you, or what they already appreciate about you. So once you've understood the communication strategy and channels that you want to use, you really understand your customer, you can then really hone in on your brand, have a website that's going to allow you to offer more automated options. Maybe it's e-commerce, maybe they're able to place a restaurant order on your website, and we'll dive into that a little bit more down the road here. But you're also able to better define your content. That goes for social media or email marketing or any of the other things. And I want to mention, we'll have time for questions at the end, but if you do have a question that pops into your head right now, please put it in the chat box. Amy is going to be fielding those questions so that we can make sure we capture all of those during the question answer point. So I just wanted to mention that. Then once we've defined our plan, we really want to think about customer relationship management. Now, of course, there are CRM systems that are robust. Those could even be as basic as your Square system. That's considered a customer relationship management system, your point of sale system. You can generally find data about your customers. You can capture their email addresses. Many of them have loyalty programs built in. They have email capabilities. And depending on how robust you want those to be, your customer relationship management, whether you use a program or software, and there are plenty of them out there that are available, you really want to understand your sales. What sales do you have, and what are the trends? How can you increase those things? How can you better market yourself through varying different channels? What kind of support are your clients or customers asking of you? And what kind of feedback are you receiving through that support, and how can you turn that feedback then back into sales and marketing? So a couple of different things that have come up recently, and really they've been around for the last decade or so, but have become more popular throughout the last 18 months are QR code. And I'm really going to touch on some basic CRM components. And if you have, again, questions, please feel free to put them in the chat box, or you can definitely contact me or one of our other SBDC consultants afterward. So QR codes are great for a number of different things. In the restaurant industry, we really saw them become used. And if you would have asked me pre-pandemic, I would have told you the QR code is dead. I have told many people this. I thought they were a little bit silly. No one really understood how they, at least from a small business perspective and a Main Street business perspective, no one really was using them or knew how to use them effectively. But we saw them just blow up during the pandemic because they allowed for mobile orders or for menu free ordering at restaurants. They also have a few other really amazing benefits that if you're not in a restaurant setting, and I think we've seen them a lot in restaurants, but other small businesses are really adopting them. You can link to photos or a product that you're really trying to promote or social media. And those QR codes can be put on screen, so you can actually have them available through your social media posts. And yeah, they're a little ugly. There are some programs that make them a little bit prettier that you can look into as well. But I've even seen them with a local gym has sign up for our classes or learn more about our classes, and you scan the QR code and it takes you directly to the schedule on their website. So it's really a way to help people get in contact with you in a different way, but also you to drive traffic to the different products or services that you are trying to promote at any given time. In the marketing realm, there's obviously many different marketing channels. You have your traditional advertising and marketing channels, and you have your web-based channels. We're going to talk more about the kind of standard ones today. And, I'm, again, definitely happy to answer questions about others. But one of the things that I saw, again, that pre-pandemic, I was like, the newsletter is dead. We really should stop bombarding people with so many newsletters. I can't tell you how many times I told that to clients, don't send a weekly newsletter. No one cares. Well, people really started reading those things and they really started caring. I think the main thing is that you really want to understand what kind of message you want to put out. Again, understanding your customer and having that plan in each of these areas is really going to help you to develop an email campaign, whether that be through a one-off service like a Constant Contact or a MailChimp or varying others, or through a more robust CRM system. There's also the social media marketing aspect, which of course has been increasingly on the rise in the last 18 months, but of course has been increasing over the last decade or more. And, I think the really fun thing that I've seen about social media marketing as it relates to customer relationship management is the ability to really connect with your customer, to target your messaging to them, and to actually receive feedback. Platforms like Facebook and Instagram, but others like YouTube and Twitter and many others all have ad platforms that are available to them. Snapchat does as well. And so again, by having that plan and understanding your customer, you're going to be able to better understand how to target your social media marketing. The cool thing about CRM systems, and of course, just like email marketing systems, like a Constant Contact or a MailChimp, there's also some really amazing social media scheduling systems. Of course, you can schedule directly through Facebook, and if that's all you use, that's fantastic. Or maybe you're posting directly from Instagram to Facebook, but you can automate this in a way that allows you to preload into a system like HubSpot or Hootsuite or Buffer or some of the other platforms, and you can backfill a month's worth of content or more, and then you just set it and forget it. You work on your marketing one day out of the month or a couple days out of the month, and then you don't have to worry about it. And it really allows you to have more automation and really also be more mindful about the planning side of your campaigns. As we get into the holiday season, a lot of my clients are starting to talk about holiday campaigns. How do we use our CRM systems? How do we, drive sales? For many people, it was a very busy summer. For other industries, it was a slow summer. So, we're seeing that within At least I'm seeing that within my clients. And so how can we make that plan to utilize the tools that we may already have in place, or tools that we don't have in place, to be able to implement some of these automation techniques, so that as we get through that perhaps busy retail season or restaurant season, or whatever industry you're in, even many service industries are really busy toward the end of the year. I think that it's a really great way to introduce automation if you don't already have it in place. In thinking about support, this is your customer service. So customer service, you think about, maybe you have a complaint or a call from a customer, or maybe you have a return, or maybe there's something that has a more negative connotation. But customer service also is, I have a question about a product. I am on your website and I'm shopping online, and I have a quick question about the purchasing process or the product. And how does your automated web platform or CRM system allow you to take in those emails or chats? Perhaps there's chatbots that are really inexpensive and that are really effective. And to answer some of the basic questions, and or to automatically direct your customer to maybe your frequently asked question page, or maybe the direct page that they're looking for that information. I've had some people talk about, well, that takes away from my, me talking to Sally on the street and building that relationship. Well, what we've noticed is that, people have varying comfort levels about being in public, or there are different implications about maybe your store isn't open when people are available, or they're, shopping online more, but they want to shop local. It allows them to be able to connect with you and get an automatic response. Even Facebook Messenger has an automatic response tool that allows you to say, thank you for your message, we'll get back to you within, and then you set a time parameter. It can be as simple as that. There's varying chatbots through chat bots is what I'm saying, like robots, through the CRM systems. And those get a little bit deeper into answering some more complex questions, or directing people to various places in your website or what have you. But there's a lot of really cool, fairly inexpensive and easy ways to continue to be able to connect with your customer wherever they are. And I think that that's the one really amazing thing that many of our local small businesses saw throughout the pandemic, is that if they either had a web presence or a CRM system, or were able to adopt some of those things, they have expanded their reach and their market pool, and really been able to serve a lot more people, or draw people in that they may not have otherwise drawn in. And then when you're taking in that feedback from your customer, you're really there to build loyalty. And many of the CRM systems, or even the point of sale systems like Square or others, have loyalty systems built in. And if you're not using those, loyalty marketing has been the bread and butter of so many industries. I mean, it started with airlines and hotels and car rental and, other types of industries. But it's really been the bread and butter of customer retention for over a decade. And I think that has become increasingly popular and increasingly accessible to small businesses throughout the last number of years, through these varying point of sale or CRM systems. But if you're not using a loyalty platform, the awesome thing that allows you to do is it really allows you to not just reward your customer, but it allows you to take in their information. So then you're able to send them special offers or emails or text messages or what have you. And all of those things, again, can be done automatically with very little input from you through some of these systems. So let's dive a little bit deeper into each of these CRM categories. So the QR code, we touched on this, and I talked a lot about this already, but mobile orders. So not only have we seen it in the restaurant industry for things like, replacing menus or things like that. But it also actually has been increasingly popular for mobile orders or uh, web uh, web-based sales. So even if you are a small service-based business or a small retailer, you are able to have a QR code that drives people directly to your website to purchase. And, perhaps you have already offered that web-based shopping or service experience, but it really puts another layer on the different ways that you are able to do that. Again, you're able to link to different photos or products or social media. And I'm really seeing a lot of trending toward particularly holiday shopping with this, because especially as people are increasingly busy, people are juggling a lot more things than they maybe were before the pandemic. They're juggling home and school and maybe quarantines, or maybe other kinds of things that are happening. Hopefully not quarantines, but it's one of those things that I might still, if I am not able to come to your shop or come to your restaurant, in person, or during the hours that, I may be able to go and sit down at a restaurant or go and whatever, I can have your QR code, and then I can directly link to your website or social media, see what kind of products are trending, see what kind of deals you have, and place that order right there for a delivery or a pickup or a shipping option. And so I think that it really, I look at the main street, and I'm in Alexandria, and I think about if shops had these QR codes, even in a little like window display, it would be so great, even if they're not open, to be able to just scan that QR code. If I saw something in the window, it allows for that impulse purchase almost, even if you are not available to serve them at that time. So, or if you're a restaurant and you are not open a particular day of the week, but I'm like, ooh, I really want to go there on Thursday, but it's Tuesday. I could click that QR code in your window and I could see your menu. I could already know what I want to purchase. Maybe I'm going to order takeout. Maybe I'm going to dine in, but I'm already getting more excited about the experience that I may have in store or from a more virtual or distance-based platform. The other thing that has been increasingly necessary, and CRM systems, and there's a ton of way to automate this outside of CRM systems, but it's e-commerce in general. And there are 3 channels to look at from a demographic standpoint. So again, back to that plan that we talked about at the beginning, really understanding who your customer is, what they care about, and really understanding, are you looking for B2B? Are you looking for B2C? Or are you looking for consumer to consumer? Those are things like eBay, or even like a Facebook swap and shop or something like that. People have had a ton of different creative ways to start small businesses in this climate. And so we've now added that C2C, consumer to consumer category into our demographic pool. And really being able to have that plan that we talked about at the beginning and define those categories and how you want to sell online to those individuals. Maybe it's ordering something. Maybe it's scheduling through a calendar system your service and offering a virtual or in-person option. Maybe it is, offering more web shopping at your local boutique. And that could be just on Facebook, it could be on Instagram, it could be, featured product of the week. There's many different ways to consider e-commerce. But if you don't have an e-commerce platform, whether you're in a service industry, a brick and mortar, or what have you, you really need to have that in order to really be even dipping your toe in the water of automation. And there's so many simple and straightforward ways to start that. And I have a lot of clients say, oh gosh, this seems really time consuming, even when they think about scheduling for social media. And it can be at the onset. setting up a CRM system, getting everyone inputted, starting those kind of things. But really and truly, you very likely have a lot of that data in your point of sale system already. And that can then be imported into a CRM system or into an email system or into a text system. And so a lot of the times you already have the information at your fingertips, and it may not be quite as time consuming or cumbersome as you might think. So marketing, there's so many elements to marketing, and a lot of people talk about marketing and advertising and what are the difference between that. And obviously advertising is more specific ads, but there's automation in marketing, and there's the actual sales engagement, and there's social media, and there's many other pieces of it. But some of the most common ones and easiest ways to automate for small business are email campaigns. If you are not communicating with your customers through email, at least on a quarterly basis, I think that it's the easiest way to get into an automated process. Because what the automation piece, now automation, unless we're having robots do everything, which is what we think of when we think of automation or advanced manufacturing or some of those kinds of things. But it's really taking your data list of emails, importing it into the mail system, and then from there, it's building out your campaign using the templates, using photos that you may already have or that you can take very easily with your smartphone, and then setting it and forgetting it. You can use scheduling tools for all of these things, and you're able to communicate with your customers about what's upcoming. What are we, what kind of deals are we running for holiday? What kind of, what kind of changes have we had to the store? Now we're going to be doing X, Y, and Z with QR codes, and check out how you can order online before you come. And that could be for takeout or sit down, because a lot of restaurants are now even having you order ahead or order through the mobile app, so that there's not even that face-to-face server at your restaurant. So yes, does it take away perhaps from the does it maybe take away from that personal connection? Maybe, but we're living in a different world now, and so having connection in general, whether that be in a virtual or automated way or person to person, is still just as important as it was for eons. There are a couple different ways to do emails from an automation perspective. So the static response, so that is I am a customer, I have a question, I send it to your CRM or to even your like Facebook Messenger, and I get a static response back. That's thank you for your message. We look forward to serving you. We'll return your message within 24 hours. The other ones, and this goes back into the planning. Static response goes into planning too, because you really want to understand your customer enough to have the right kind of static response message. But marketing campaigns are things like, how often are we sending out the marketing emails? How many of those can we schedule in advance? How can we automate that process? Maybe we schedule, maybe we do monthly emails talking about different things. And a lot of, I think, small businesses are like, well, we don't know what we want to promote in November. Well, you should have a plan. You should at least have a general plan about what kind of product you want to take in and what kind of product you want to sell. And that could be something as general as, we're going to have 25% off of home decor. You don't have to say it's pumpkins and candy canes. You can literally say home decor for the holiday season. Check out our Black Friday deal where we're having, 75% off from, 8 to 10 or something like that. I mean, you can start to think about the kinds of campaigns, and they can be a little bit more generalized so that you can push those out. And then you use your other tools like social media, your stories, your posts through social media, to have that more timely communication about specifics. And again, all of these things can be CRM driven, and CRM a lot of people think about that from the system standpoint, but CRM is simply customer relationship management. And so you really are just wanting to figure out how to manage the relationship with your consumer. And whether that be a client situation in the service industry or it's a, brick and mortar retail customer, you want to make sure that you have that plan so that you can understand how to drive your email or marketing campaigns for those consumers. And then you can capture the data from that information. How many clicks did we have on the 35% off? How many, people opened the email? Maybe we need a better headline. Maybe we need, to think about this in a different way. You can capture that information, and then that can help you understand more about your customer to be able to then increase sales through better marketing. I'm going to touch on social media. We do a lot of social media seminars through the SBDC, and at least a couple of us at the West Central office are pretty well versed in marketing and social media, myself and Deb. But there's a couple different things that I want to mention with regard to automation. And one of those is ads. And the same way that you can schedule posts, you can schedule ads. And ads also allow you to understand a lot more about your customer because you can see how many people see it, how many people interact with it, how many people are, is it reaching? And you can really understand a lot more about your customer. What I also love about Facebook and Instagram ads is you can do what's called an A/B test. So you can send out 2 ads that maybe look really similar to a similar, they can have the same information, but they look a little bit different to different audiences, and see what kind of look and feel or what kind of actual content people are responding better to so that you can learn more about your customer. Content is huge, and not all of us are copywriters, but there might be an employee of yours who really loves writing and you never knew that Sally is like, writes in her free time or really likes coming up with quick little maybe it's like the witty person in your office and they have just like the best punchlines ever. Those can become really great taglines or really great content for social media. So it's important to get your whole team involved, whether that's, 2 people or 10 people or 50 people. It's a great way to help you understand more about your consumer because they're the ones who are interacting with them on a regular basis. And I can't say enough about video. In the last couple of years, video has really become the driver of all the algorithms. People are taking in more and more video than ever before. And this is through channels like IGTV, Instagram TV, or, Reels even, TikTok, these little micro videos, YouTube, of course, and there are ways to have advertising through all of those things. Social media isn't just Facebook. You can, of course, do live videos or videos on Facebook as well. And those are all very effective. But it's really important to think about, how do I automate content? And so if you are a service industry or any industry for that matter, you can pre-record videos. Just have like 3 shirts available. We're all on screens these days, so we see the shirt up and have a few shirts available and just have, maybe I'm going to do a backdrop here and a backdrop here and a backdrop here. And then you can put those out over time. You don't have to think about, you can schedule those in your CRM system or through the social media platform. And you don't have to worry about, I got to have to put out a video tomorrow. Again, planning and thinking about your content at the onset. I say at least quarterly, really planning out that content. You want to really do as much as you can in advance. And, if you're trying to think about what's happening today, that's an add-on now to, your Instagram stories or your Facebook stories or what have you, those little TikTok snippets. Those are all things that are more immediate. But you want to have your kind of static videos and then build upon those. And By the way, if you only put out the static videos, you're able to automate those. You're able to record a few of them in one sitting. You're able to, automate them, and you set it and forget it, and they just go out into the stratosphere. So support. Um, this is kind of a tricky one for a lot of small businesses, particularly kind of the micro businesses or the mom and pops of the world. But I think that there are some really amazing tools through our point of sale systems that allow us to have automated responses, even through, like I've been saying, Facebook Messenger, or even if you just have an email response. If you have a contact at email, you should have an automatic response. Even if you're accustomed to responding every day, you should have an automatic response for your customer that says, thank you so much for your message. We look forward to serving you. Whatever it is, we'll respond within X amount of time, and give them that service level. And also give yourself a little leeway on that service level, because, and then have a way for them to more immediately contact you for, an immediate response, give us a call at, or whatever. But it's almost better to not make yourself quite so available and then over deliver on that. The other great thing, if you are thinking about more customer relationship management systems, there's some really cool chat tools and other automated responses that reduce human error and enhance the service process, and really allow for more productivity within your team. So that increased productivity is because either you as the business owner who responds to all the emails, or whoever your team member who is managing that customer service side, they are not spending all their time responding to every email at the moment that it comes in. They have, they can be productive, and they can schedule, okay, well, on, Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, I'm going to spend, 2 hours on responding to emails. And if it comes through the chat bot, we have such and such program that answers those things and directs them to the frequently asked questions page, or to a specific page on the website. And then you're able to really allow that customer experience to be increased. And ultimately, it reduces your cost. You don't have your team, whether they be an in-store team or you as the sole runner of your business and you're the only person running the store. You have, a better customer experience, but you reduce your own time cost and errors. Because if we're feeling frantic, or we're feeling like we need to respond right this second, which, by the way, I love that the pandemic has actually reduced that expectancy, I've found, for an immediate response. I think because people have been working so much more remotely, at least at the beginning of the pandemic, and maybe continued, people have been able to really figure out how to set boundaries, both from a business owner perspective, but also from a team member perspective, on how to make those responses fit more appropriately into their day, and people can better manage their time, I think. At least that's what I've seen. And it reduces errors, as I mentioned. And then you have more consistent and streamlined communication that then allows you to really understand more about, how, again, it goes back to the plan. How are we going to communicate with our customers? What is the content? What is the response going to look like? How can we do that on a more consistent basis? Whatever it might be. And that goes across all industries. It can be, if you have a phone message, it's, thank you for your call. We look forward to serving you. I'm thinking like a restaurant setting. All of our reservations are now online at, eatnow.com or whatever it is. And so you can have those kinds of more automated messages that are then saving time for your team or yourself in real time. And then it's like, okay, so we've had that interaction with our consumer. we collect that information, then we need to analyze, implement, and notify them through our marketing or sales channels on how we can better communicate with them. And so, it's really one of those things where we are able to, we're really able to have that full circle, and we really want to ask. We want to ask for feedback from for our customers. We want to really collect that information. We want to really understand and have that interaction with our customer, whether that be through email or a phone call or the chat bot. I mean, all of those things get collected somehow. And so again, it goes back to your planning and understanding your process about how you're going to be taking in this information and really building out your processes. I didn't mention that during the planning point, but I really want to drive home the need for having documented processes, and they can be an outline form, but it's everything from your accounting process to your HR process to your customer service process to, your supply chain or whatever it is. All of these things should be documented in some way. And, again, if you need help with those things, we offer fee-free services through the SBDC, and many of our consultants can help you in varying different ways. But collecting that information and analyzing and planning that information allows you to then better increase your sales, market to your consumer, and automate moving forward. It drives the ability to have that ongoing automation by really understanding how you can use that data or that feedback, and many times it's sales numbers, it's actual customer interactions, it's what you're learning from your click-throughs on your email campaigns or your social media campaigns, and then it allows you to then, when you make your next plan the next quarter, or when you're doing your annual planning every year, you're then able to better understand how to better serve your consumer and automate those processes for yourself. And that's the main part of the implementation, is then taking that information that you've learned and putting it back into a plan. It really is important. And I talk about this a lot with my clients, but it's really important to have ongoing planning for your business. And it doesn't need to be time consuming or cumbersome. In fact, it gets pretty automatic and automated as you understand the kinds of things that you want to be doing on a quarterly basis, and how to compartmentalize those things or organize those things. And so I think it's really important to know that we can collect all this data and we can automate all of these things, but if we're not planning to implement them or make the plan after we have that data, we're just going to be right back where we started. And then the notify component is, you can show your clients that you have heard them, that you understand what they like about you, that you are really listening to them through listening can be, what kind of things are people liking on your Facebook page? That's listening. Okay. Or they're commenting, or they're clicking through your email, or they're going to one particular product page on your website, or, they're really interested in a certain menu item, or they really are pumped up about this service or workshop that you're doing, or what have you. You can then share through that planned content all of the things that you are hearing from them, and you're showing them that much more that you really are building that relationship. So it's question time. I'm not sure, I haven't been paying attention, but I'm not sure if there are any in the chat box, but if you have questions, you can either put them in the chat or, hop in, and I'm happy to answer them.
Shannon, I haven't seen anything pop up in the chat box yet, but I just wanted to share a QR code idea, because I kind of have, I've felt like you did, like I'm not really sure what this thing is for or how it's helpful, but I did go to a play last summer, and they were trying not to have people handing out programs. They were trying to simplify that process. So they had a screen behind the stage. It was an outdoor production. They had a screen behind the stage that had the QR code on the stage. And it was far away from me, but it was large enough that I could pull up my phone, click it, and then I had a program so I could see what was coming next. So there are all sorts of ways you can use those things, and to simplify how many people you have handing out programs or how many people you have doing that communication.
Right,
It's,
exactly.
yeah.
I love that one. You know, and because we're talking about labor shortage, it's a perfect example. And you know, these tools really allow either you as the, you know, sole proprietor to have more time for your customers, or if you are short-staffed, to be able to have more time to do the things that you need to do and serve your customers in either an equal or, you know, much more robust way.
Yeah.
Great example. I love that one.
I've just been kind of amazed at how this pandemic has changed operations. How could folks find different CRM programs or POS systems? What's a good way for them to research that?
You know, I mean, there are some really kind of regular ones. You know, people really like HubSpot. There's Monday is another one that I know a lot of clients use. But even within your Square POS systems, or, you know, any of those, if you have an online store, maybe it's Shopify or some of those things, look at the tools that you may already have available to you through either your website or your point of sale system, because most of the time you have, and it may not be, you know, Squares isn't super pretty. You can't add tons of photos, but you can send out emails and you can send out invoices and you can do a lot of these things through many of these programs. Your HubSpots or your Hootsuites or your buffers for social media, those are all really fantastic tools. But truly, you know, even when I was researching more in depth for this presentation, there are so many out there that are super accessible for small businesses. But some that I know that our regional businesses are using are the ones that I've mentioned. So the HubSpots, the Mondays, Hootsuite, Buffer, some of those others. So, you know, Square, Shopify, you know, even PayPal has a point of sale system that's really awesome. A lot of people are using Venmo even. There's a Venmo for business now. So just, you know, there's so many more kind of independent contractors or super micro businesses that are using some of those more mobile tools like Venmo or PayPal as well. And so a lot of those have different tools available. Venmo doesn't, that's more of a paying system, but even your Square, you can send invoices and some of those awesome things too. So a Google search will get you a whole list of them. But some of the ones that I've mentioned are the most popular for kind of our regional small businesses.
And then I'll just reinforce that if folks want to go more in depth with how you can automate your business, and if there are some things that might appear different for your type of business than were presented today, you can call the SBDC at 218-299-3037 and ask to be connected with Shannon. Some of our other consultants do have some good familiarity with ways to automate your system. So we've got a couple of consultants that can help you with that. So if you want to go more in depth, that's what the consulting is for, and there's no cost associated with it. So just wanted to throw in that little plug.
Yeah, and we're always happy to help. I mean, we love getting new clients. We love learning about you and your businesses, and we love being able to help. So I just want to thank everyone that was on live today and who's watching the recording. And thank you, Amy, for helping facilitate. We so appreciate you at West Central SBDC, and definitely tap into some of the other programs that are upcoming in October and November. And we can't wait to see you.